But coronavirus?
Coronavirus, sir, abhi, at present situation is not good.
It's not good. Okay.
Uh,
So Himachal is also,
day by day it increase.
yes, and that's very worrisome that we were just discussing. Our dear Home Minister has got corona,
Yes,
which
sir. Yes,
means
sir.
if he can get it, anyone can. So we need to be even extra careful going forward. So we are now live on YouTube. So students, participants, teachers, we will start in another 1 minute. Till then, please bear with us. And Vivek, how's the mood in Chandigarh?
Chandigarh is always buoyant. The corona numbers are rising, but I think the immunity levels of people are increasing. If you look at it, the fatality rate is going down, which means the critical cases are going down as a percentage. And getting the virus is not the end of everything. It is basically your immunity which matters. So let us see how it goes in the future. Chandigarh is warm today, otherwise.
And we have Poonam Gulati ma'am. She's saying hello. She's an assistant professor. We've got Ponmani ma'am. So I think it's time to start. It's 4 o'clock. If you allow me, Vivek and Dr. Anju, should we start?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Wonderful. So good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Good evening, teachers and students. It's a true honor and delight to be with you today. Vivek and I started Ideas That Matter, a series of webinars sponsored by Shulini University, Kasoli Hills, Himachal Pradesh. The real idea behind Ideas That Matter was to create a platform that we can share ideas with. Your ideas, our ideas, and hopefully in the process inspire each other. And if we inspire each other, hopefully we'll inspire our students. You're all Corona warriors. I'm sure you've taken online and learning to your students every day. And students also are Corona warriors, Vivek, because they have stepped up and they have continued learning the way they were in the classroom. And that's the passion that we have behind Ideas That Matter. And that's the passion we have at Shulini University. My name is Atul Khosla. I am the founder and pro-vice chancellor of Shulini University, Kasoli Hills. Our passion is to bring the best learning to students. I'm a BTech from IIT Kanpur. I am a MBA post that and then spent many, many years in consulting across many different countries of the world, including the United States and the UK and Germany. And then 9 years back, I decided to devote my life to teaching. Vivek Atray, who's with us today, is a very dear friend, a professor at Shulini University, but more importantly, an ex-IAS officer, TEDx speaker, and author of 3 books, quoted in the Wall Street Journal and New York Times, and has many, many more accolades under his belt. I think he's been to your college also. Vivek and I are going to be talking about the new education policy, and also the disruptions that we see in education going ahead. Many of you might be B.Ed students, and I think it's relevant for you. Also, we'll talk a little bit about some of the best practices and how to give about a great online lecture or a webinar.
Thank you so much, sir. A very good evening.
Please go ahead, Dr. Anju.
Thank you so much, sir. A very good evening to everyone present here. A warm greetings. It gives me great pleasure to extend a warm welcome on behalf of San Nishya Singh College of Education, Yamuna, conducting one-day webinar on New Education Policy 2020. This webinar series is an initiative by Shulini University. It gives me tremendous contentment to be presenting the welcome speech amongst our resource persons, the most esteemed personalities who won accolades in their respective fields. Our college is teaching training college, and in that context, I am sure that this webinar will be of much meaning, as we all aware the policy of education has changed after a long time. And I am confident the webinar will be profitable and fruitful for everyone to understand the new education policy. Thank you so much. Thanks to one and all. Now I would like to invite Dr. Shalini. Please introduce our guests, our resource persons formally. Dr. Shalini.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Warm welcome to everyone. Very good evening. I would like to introduce Professor Atul Khosla, sir. Professor Atul Khosla is the founder, president, and pro-vice chancellor at Shulini University, one of India's leading research-centric private universities. Atul sir drives new initiatives at Shulini, initiating partnerships with industry and top global universities, starting new innovative academic programs, transforming a traditional system to new methodologies of pedagogy, initiating skills-based curricula, and building one of India's most dynamic and cutting-edge education technology platforms. Sir has been an entrepreneur for more than 15 years. He has founded and led multiple initiatives. Professor Khosla has founded Everest Group Business in India and Asia in 2003 and 6. Subsequently, he moved to Switzerland, where he helped build a connect into global consulting business. Atul sir then moved back to India in 2008 and founded Oliver Wyman's India business. Atul sir has recently co-founded Adu, an edutech startup based out of Chandigarh, India. In addition, Atul sir advises several Indian and global organizations on issues of strategy, operations, and innovations. He is and has been independent director with Gabriel India, director and innovative, senior advisor to Ankur Capital, advisor to SEBI chairman, and advisor to global management of Swiss. Sir started his career with McKinsey and Company, and in the last 25 years as a consultant, he has advised clients to India, Asia, North America, Europe, and Australia. Sir was also advisor to MMC's global board on building the company's global operating platform. In addition, Atul sir led Oliver Wyman's initiative to build a global risk advisory and operations business in Ivy with a global outsourcing major. Sir teaches finance and strategy and is a guest and visiting faculty at several Indian and global universities. And sir is BTech from IIT Kanpur and MBA from IBM Mumbai. Sir, the stage is all yours, sir.
Thank you. I think more than me, I think we missed out on introducing Vivek Atray, so I'll do that.
No, sir, I'm definitely going to do that also. I just wanted to hear you just for a while, and then I'm just moving to sir also.
So Shalini, the process we're going to follow is we'll have Vivek speak first, and I will come after that. So I'll truly appreciate if you could introduce Mr. Vivek Atray, and we will then have Vivek take us through his wonderful journey of his thoughts about the new education policy, and then I will come in the next 20 minutes after that.
Sir, definitely, sir, already discussed. Last September, he was there with us in 19. So we were really very excited to meet him again, not physical, but through this digital platform. Atray sir is an author, advisor, motivational speaker, formerly of the Indian Administrative Services, IS. Vivek sir is a motivational speaker. He is a columnist and visiting professor. He resigned from the Indian Administrative Service, IAS, in 2017, and he has 6 TEDx talks and 2 highly popular Josh talks. His talks have received over 1.50 million views on YouTube. He's the founder of Suvichar Think Tank. He's an advisor and professor at Shulini University. He's also founder of the Vibrant Networking Forum and the Chandigarh Literary Society and co-convener of Intech Chandigarh. He speaks regularly on nuances of leadership, good governance, emotional intelligence, life skills, people skills, public speaking skills, meditation, calmness, entrepreneurship, education, and sports. He has inspired thousands of youngsters to adopt a cheerful, positive, and multidimensional approach. Sir, thank you so much for being with us, and we are ready to just shoot in the pool.
Thank you.
Atray, sir.
I think I'm muted. So thank you very much, Shalini ma'am. What a beautiful introduction. You make both me and Vivek, I think, blush. I hope we will live up to the wonderful introduction that you've given. The new education policy has been in discussion for the last many, many years. And we're so delighted that it's come out. It's revolutionary, and we'll talk about it why. I think it'll have deep impact on many of us, especially budding teachers. I wouldn't take the wind away, and I'll request Vivek to please take over. Vivek will speak from now till 4:30, and I will join the discussion at 4:30. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Atul. And thank you, Anju ma'am and Shalini ma'am. I remember my visit very fondly to your college last year, and I was very happy to meet my old friend, Dr. Oberoi. And I believe Oberoi Saab is on this session also, because I just saw a comment by him welcoming us. So thank you, Oberoi Saab. And thank you, Dr. Anju Walia, once again for a warm welcome. It was nice of you to speak, and Shalini for the introductions to Atul and me. So Atul and I have been holding these webinars for the last 3 or 4 months now, and we have touched 100 or so. And it is a pleasure to speak to teachers, to students, to parents, to others during these webinars. Today, I know that we have faculty from B.Ed and we have students of B.Ed perhaps. So it is going to be focused on the education sector and the education field. Atul and I have diverse experience. We speak on various topics, but you have chosen a very contemporary and much required topic of the new education policy. So without much ado, let me start with this topic, and let me say that education is something which is more important than anything in the world except perhaps health. Health and education are the two priorities of the world. And if governments are paying attention to health and education, then they don't have to pay much attention to anything else actually, because everything else falls in place. If the education system is in order, if the health of the human beings in the country is good, and then everything else will fall in place. If you look at it, the budget allocation for health and education in India compared to other countries has been quite low. The percentage of allocation of the US, for example, is about 15% of the budget for health, and a large percentage also for education. In India, we had very little, 4%, 2%, 3%, this kind of allocation for health and education. Defense and infrastructure and salaries and other things would take most of the budget. But if you look at it, education is something which actually prepares the country and prepares the youth. Now, if we invest in our education policy and education systems, then we will be able to make a better country. No doubt about it. Today also, we have so many illiterate people. We have so many people who are, let's say, very little education has been imparted to them. So we really need to get into a very good, robust, and very, very dynamic education system, which is in line, in tune with the times. So talking of the new education policy, the main important thing that strikes me is the change in the 10+2+3 system. If you look at it, the 10+2+3 system has been in existence for many, many years. Even when I graduated from school in 1984, I did my +2. And I went to engineering college for a 4-year degree of engineering. But the graduation in arts or science, BSc or BA, was 3 years. So it was 10+2+3. And if you look at it, even till this year, last year, it has been the same. Now, many countries in the world have a 4-year undergraduate course. That means a graduation course. And many students of India would find it difficult to get admission or in the top universities because they had done a 3-year graduation. So to get admission in post-graduation, you had to do 4 years. So it is very difficult. Now, with that standardization having been carried out in this new education policy, it is necessary to do 4 years of graduation level. And the 12th class, I believe, the 1 year has been shaved off from the education below. So it will become very easy now to have an 8+3+4 kind of system. And that will mean the same number of years, but it will mean that more years in the college and 1 more year in the college than earlier was envisaged. Even B.Ed, I was reading in the new education policy, even B.Ed is likely to become a 4-year course. Now, those of you who have already got admission, I don't know, that may not change, but those who will come in future, perhaps for them, it will be a 4-year degree course. Now, what is the advantage of 4-year degree course? The advantage is that you go more into detail. You get more practical exposure. Internship possibilities are also there. Internship is very important in education. In my experience as director of school education, director of technical education, director of information technology, director of industries in the government, I have often felt, and everyone is feeling the same, that our students are not ready for employment when they graduate. Why? Because they have been taught the theoretical part, but they have not really had the opportunity to go into the depth of what the industry needs. We often lack soft skills also. Soft skills are skills which are required in the industry, in the real world, so to say. We learn what is, let's say, physics or chemistry or bio or history or geography or whatever subjects we are to learn. But we don't learn how to deliver these topics, how to talk about them, how to conduct ourselves in meetings, how to meet new people, how to smile and be presentable, how to shake hands. We don't know all these things. Of course, you might say that in Corona, shaking hands is going to be out of the window, but it doesn't matter. We have to learn it at least. So we have to know the personality traits that are required for being a part of the real world. Otherwise, companies like Infosys, they spend 6 months of intensive training at Mysore or other places where they train their students, their rather new joinees, in very, very basic things. And they have to. Now, how to speak, how to talk, how to walk, how to sit, how to interact with others should not be something that the industry is teaching a new joinee. It should be something that the college or school is teaching. And that is something which the parents are teaching. So that is something which will now probably happen. Another factor in the new education policy is that if you are taking one subject, it doesn't mean that you are only going to be studying that one subject. For example, as I see it, an engineering student will also be able to take music. And that means the major degree is engineering and the minor degree is music. Which means what? It means you can be multi-dimensional. You read in my CV that I have encouraged thousands of youngsters to be cheerful all-rounders, cheerful multi-dimensional people. So in the new educational policy or paradigm, we are going to see people who have more knowledge about other fields than only their own field. You might think it is difficult, but it's not that difficult. Because what happens, once you take interest in something apart from your own subject, then you really become better at your own people skills, at your understanding of the world and your country. I know for a fact that many countries, many universities offer these courses already, where you can take, along with your chemistry, you can take a course in political science. Now, Shulini University has been doing this for a while, where a minor and a major degree will be there, a major degree and a minor degree. Atul Khosla ji will tell you about it when he comes back. So the point is that this multi-dimensional approach is most welcome. A person who passes out of college may not only be an engineer, he may also be an economist. Institutions like BITS Pilani have already been doing it. You may have heard for many years. So that really helps you to get what is called a kind of dual degree. Also, in the new education policy, the school students will be told to take up at least one subject which is linked to vocation, vocational subjects. This could be accounting, it could be IT, it could be something to do with another type of career. But basically, they will have to take up these two subjects instead of just one subject, or rather a vocational subject along with their studies in the school, so that they can be better equipped for going out of the college, out of the school, and going into the real world. Let me give you a story here, just to break the monotony. We're talking about the new education policy. Let me give you a story. So two gentlemen are sitting at a table in a restaurant. In a fast food kind of restaurant, often because there is rush, one person has to share the table with an unknown person. So one gentleman is sitting there and he is having some idli sambar or whatever. The other person comes and starts having chana bhatura, and they are talking. Just like that, they start talking. Now, one of them is a doctor who is also a singer, who is also a tennis player. He's also got interest in literature because he loves reading books. The other person is a chartered accountant who does not have any interest in anything else. Now, this is not against chartered accountants. There's nothing against chartered accountants. But this chartered accountant has no interest in anything else. These two people are talking to each other about politics, and politics leads way to something like sports. Chartered accountant, I don't follow cricket, I don't follow football. Then the other person starts talking about art and culture. The doctor. Now the doctor is also a busy person. He's a specialist. He's a pediatrician, and he's talking about art and culture and music, and he's talking about sports, whereas the CA is not. So what happens? That conversation becomes very dull and one way. So the person who has only one interest is not really making a mark. Not only in that conversation, it could be later in life, in some gathering, in some group, in some debate, because you have not studied anything apart from your core subject. You have not really got any results of that multi-dimensional kind. So your interests must include the scriptures that you follow, the religion that you follow, one sport, one field like music, art, cinema, books. Definitely books should be part of it. Being multi-dimensional will definitely. So coming back to the policy, it is a good step that they are encouraging students to become multi-dimensional. And as you know, many universities, schools and colleges now have a lot of cultural activities, a lot of music related activities, a lot of debates. I would also encourage your college to adopt a few different types of activities which you may or may not have. One is Spell Bee. Spell Bee is something which you may have heard of, which children do in the US, spelling competition. Even when you are 18 or 19 or 20 or 21 years old, your spellings may not be perfect. So you can have a Spell Bee competition in your college. That Spell Bee competition is often won by Indian students in America, because even Americans don't know how to spell it properly, these words. So you must take up such a competition in your college. Then it could be something to do with music. It could be something to do with extempore debates, Hindi, English, Punjabi. It could be anything. And then it becomes much easier to take up these subjects and to take up these points. And when you do that, then you become multi-dimensional. Being multi-dimensional is the way to be. And that means that you are absolutely ready for the world. Now, if you talk about the new education policy, other things which are coming in are that in the basic years, first 5 years, we will teach the student in his mother tongue or her mother tongue. That is also something which is coming up. I'll just take a moment. To continue, they have made it necessary for a young student to study various things in his mother tongue. Now, that may be a debatable point whether English is required. English is definitely a language which is needed by today's young person. So it is a debatable point. But at least the mother tongue is definitely easy for the child. And it is a scientific study which I have also read that if There is a scientific theory that you learn more in your mother tongue. Then there is no harm in learning subjects in your mother tongue. But English, I believe, should also be a part of that. That could also be one subject which is there. That's fine. You need not be the medium, but it can definitely be a one subject. I also believe that there is emphasis going to be done in this new education policy on a lot of research work. Now, research work is good because students at an early age, when they do research, then they are able to understand the world and its practical aspects. Otherwise, what happens? Theoretical aspects we are very good at. Very good at maths, very good at physics. And it's good to be, there's no harm in maths or physics. They have been my subjects also. But to apply the learnings that you have got and to research and to go out and maybe do projects at a young age, that will definitely help the students. Research is another point which is covered in this. And research means not only high-end research, which universities and laboratories are going to do, but also it means the definitely the research at the junior level. For example, all of you may have done projects in school as a 8th class, 9th class student. You know, some kind of windmill or some kind of train or some kind of other project, your water flow of water or some snow or something environment related projects you have all done. Now, these projects are often done very superficially, which means that they are not done seriously. Now, if you look at Shulini University, I think Atul may tell you later when he comes. Aman, a student of Shulini University, who used to be a weak student earlier, or an average student, let's say, today she has won the World Water Fellow Award. Can you believe it? What is the World Water Fellow Award? It means that she has done remarkable research in the field of drinking water. And that research is related to moringa seeds. Moringa, if you know, is a drumsticks. In sambar, you might find drumsticks, a vegetable kind of thing. And it is known as moringa powder. Now that moringa seeds, moringa powder, when applied to water, that water is purified and pure water can be drunk. So they actually have made these dip bags of moringa powder, which when you put it in a vessel of water, it purifies the water to the level of 99% naturally, without any other thing. So it's absolutely wonderful what they've done. And this kind of research, if it is encouraged through the new education policy, it means that at a young age, children will get into the habit of researching. And when they get into a habit of researching, then that creativity comes in. And that creative aspect is what is lacking in our education system. We've been saying it in many, many webinars or seminars or speeches, that it is very, very, very important for students to imbibe creativity. Without creativity, it is rote learning, ratta. That is not really learning. It is memorizing. Memorizing is not really good. So we need to be able to utilize our minds better. If we utilize our minds, if we are able to think, this new education policy has the potential. Of course, a lot will depend on its application. That means the implementation. Across schools, across colleges, across universities, across technical institutions, if it is applied to the letter and spirit, then only we will be seeing the results of the kind that matter. One other aspect I'll cover for your benefit. A lot of problems arise in our system from the regulatory framework. The regulatory framework, I've been director school education and technical education, as I said, means that people have to keep knocking at the doors of the government, schools, colleges for permissions, for this, for that. And there are so many different bodies which are present. For example, a college in Haryana will have to apply to the higher education department of Haryana for any permission upgradation. It will have to apply to UGC or AICTE, depending on whatever is the thing, or the university to which it is affiliated also. So many bodies come in. And for technical colleges, AICTE has become a kind of difficult body, let's say. If in the new policy, as is envisaged, as I have heard and read, AICTE and UGC are merged, other regulatory bodies are merged, then things become transparent at least more transparent and clear, because you don't have to run to multifarious organizations. If we take out this kind of, let's say, red tapeism or jugglery or other things from the system and focus more on the pure educational infrastructure and mechanisms and pedagogy and systems, then things will improve to a large extent. So I think that is good enough for me, from me, and I'll come back later. I think Atul is back. So Atul, I invite you to the screen and please share your thoughts on the new education policy, and we can then take up some more points later. I think Atul is just coming. So by the time Atul comes, I will just tell you that a few tips I will give all of you teachers and students. One of the tips I will give you is, please practice writing a lot. Reading the books is, of course, very vital, but practice writing a lot. By practicing your writing skills, you become much, much better than others. Speaking skills, writing skills. If these two aspects are covered by you, then whatever knowledge you have, that is important, but your presentation will become much, much better. Your oratory skills, speaking skills, because you have been reading, you have many, many stories to tell, you have many, many points of view, many, many points of discussion, and you will have lots to write about on any topic. So practice your writing skills. Also, I would encourage many of you to take up creative writing. Now, creative writing is storytelling, is let's say article writing, poetry writing. I have taken up writing since my college days and even school days, and I really love it. Now I write this Random Forays, which is a column for the Hindustan Times, and it is wonderful to be able to write. It really, really, really helps when we do that, and it really, really helps us to emote, to express very, very well. When we express ourselves, then we are able to take a lot of pride and joy in what we are doing. Plus, nowadays a new thing has come in, which is for stressful times. We are in stressful times, so to say, in this pandemic. Although some people are more stressed than others, but writing therapy, which means that you are expressing yourself through writing, and then you are not feeling that low, you're not feeling that bad about whatever is happening. You are able to take care of your mind through writing therapy because you have expressed, you have emoted, and writing therapy will help you. So write down whatever you feel. Maybe sometimes you can tear or burn that paper, but write your thoughts, and those thoughts are important to be expressed. If we bottle up our thoughts, then depression also rises, and depression is not our friend at all. Depression needs to be recognized, or low feelings need to be recognized, and we need to take out that by writing therapy, etc. So this is something also that you can do. And Dr. Anju ma'am or Shalini ma'am, one of you can come and just maybe respond to the thoughts that I've expressed. Or if Atul is here, then I think we can have Atul. I think Atul is coming.
I think Atul sir is just joining.
Yes, Atul sir. So Atul, I've taken them through the salient features of the new education policy and given some examples also of how important research is, how important the vocational part of education is, the creativity part, which hopefully will be encouraged in this new education policy, because there is encouragement for 2 subjects in the graduation stream, there is encouragement for vocational subjects, and also research and thinking and projects. So creativity, which is so important. So all of these points we've covered, and you may like to come in with your thoughts now.
Thank you, Vivek. My apologies, I dropped off. There was a outage. What happens?
No problem.
Technology always challenges you, despite however much we try. And as luck would have it, even my Vodafone out of charge. So I had to run dongle sort of connect. And I think these are perils of the new world and perils.
Your connection is a little slow. It's a little slow. Your connection. It's a little slow, but it's
I,
okay.
I understand. Probably you can't hear me as well as I normally
But it's
am
80%
audible.
okay. It's 80%
And
okay. Carry on. Yeah.
hopefully in 3 minutes I can come back on my Wi-Fi. It's going to sort of it's updating right now. So my I wrote a small note, Vivek, on the new education policy, and I'm going to read some excerpts from that. And it's going to be relevant for all of you here. Like I said, many of you are budding teachers. Many of you are professors teaching in teaching education college, and the new education policy aspires to create a better education world. So, what are the implications for all of us? I think there are 4 or 5 very big implications. The first is it envisages the investment in education from 2% of GDP to 6% of GDP. And that's a very sizable change, students, teachers. 6% of GDP basically means that investments in education will treble, which means there'll be a huge demand for great teachers. So you have to become a great teacher. What is a great teacher? I'll come in a second. The second thing is they're talking about multidisciplinary colleges. And that's an implication for your college because from a education college, the government is going to push you towards becoming a multidisciplinary college, which is at some level good because you'll not just have science and education, but you'll have liberal arts, hopefully you'll have engineering, hopefully you'll have medicine, etc. I think great opportunity for professors in your beautiful college out there in Yamunanagar. The third thing is research, which Vivek said, and the new education policy has got multiple funding for research initiatives. So there's a research fund which is being created for 20,000 crores, which means if you are a professor who wants to do research, you'll be encouraged to do that. In fact, if you do not do research, your opportunities will decrease. Fourthly, I think, which is actually more relevant for students, is the government is building a national credit bank, which basically means you could do one semester in your college, the Nihal Nishchal Singh College, and the next semester in Shulani University, the next semester in Oxford University, the next semester in IIT Delhi, and come up with a degree. And that's, I think, path breaking for students because you don't have to be at one place. You could be learning education at your college, science at Shulani, engineering at IIT Delhi, and liberal arts at Oxford. What a beautiful way to learn. And finally, I think what's going to be really, really relevant is also how education is going to be driven. There's going to be a huge emphasis on digital and online. So learning to do great online education is going to become very, very important for all of you teachers, whether existing teachers, faculty, college teachers, or budding teachers who are out there. What does it entail to give a great lecture? I think the first thing is have your technology in place. If I did not have my 4G with me, I would not have been able to right now speak to you. I need a great background. I need a good speakerphone. I need a great microphone to make sure that you can hear me properly. That's the basic stuff. Then you need to be prepared for your lecture. Of course, you are in the classroom, but in a classroom, there's a lot of chit chat. In the online world, you're delivering, right, without the interaction of students, which basically means it's almost like theater. You don't know how the response of the audience is, and I don't know whether you're liking what I'm saying or not. So I just need to be that better prepared than what I am in the classroom. The next thing would be in terms of just preparing properly is the best use of technology. So the new tools which are available, there's whiteboarding, there's something called a light board, Vivek, that we've just inaugurated at Shulani. You can actually write on a light board and it looks like you're writing on a blackboard, but it's inverted and you have to invert it. It's a phenomenal thing. Go and check it out on YouTube. Animations, gaming, amazing opportunities available. Of course, we need to change the way we teach as far as using these new technologies are concerned. And lastly, I'd like to say the human mind cannot absorb more than 20 to 25 minutes of content. So online lectures are not 1 hour anymore. Online lectures will become 25 minutes. Even the government of India through CBSE has said 30 minutes classes. So phenomenal change happening, Vivek. At one level is the new education policy. At another level is the disruption which is happening through uh, COVID and Corona. And the last is the technologies which are coming up because of this. And when you put all of these together, I think the world of teaching is going to be very, very exciting. I'll end it up by saying and give an example of the Mahabharata. When you think about the Mahabharata, you think about the Gurukul where the Pandavas and the Kauravas went. You know about Dronacharya. But do you know that behind Dronacharya, there were hundreds of other gurus who were supporting that effort? The challenge is now, would you like to be Dronacharya and known as the best teacher because your videos are now being recorded and they're going to get likes? Or you're going to be the other hundreds of gurus supporting Dronacharya and just a support and a facilitator. If you can become Dronacharya, you will become rich, you will become famous, but more importantly, you will find success within. So the new education policy, in my opinion, Vivek, is a catalyst of the big, big, big changes that are happening in the education world. So I'll sort of stop over here. And I have a couple of questions for you, Vivek, before we get into Q&A. And my first question to you is, you've been the director IT of the Chandigarh administration, and you've also been director education, right? If I'm not wrong, of Haryana or Chandigarh, I'm not sure between the two.
Yeah, Haryana, yeah.
Of Haryana. So you've actually gone out and run institutions in a very sizable way. So how do you think, how much time, at least they say that there's a slip between the lip and the cup, implementation is key. What do you think is going to happen around implementation? Do you see a fast implementation happening of the new education policy, or do you think it's going to take some time? What's going to be the pace of implementation?
Yes, Atul, that's a very good point, because as I said also that implementation is the key. I think some of the measures will be implemented quickly because they are of a structural nature. For example, a 3-year degree to become a 4-year degree may be implemented reasonably quickly from next year or whatever it is, because basically they need to redo the syllabus, and they have boards of studies. They have that deadline will be upon them. That may happen when they talk about the number of years or the number of exams or the number of this and that. But I think a few other things which are deeper and deep rooted, like for example, the spirit behind the research orientedness and the vocational learning and the creative learning, and then that language issue also I think is a little difficult to implement, where we want children to learn in their mother tongue. So these issues may take a little longer. However, there are broader issues or broader measures which have been announced in the policy. Even merger of regulatory bodies may take a little while. It takes a couple of years, in my experience. I remember that I was involved with the upgradation of the Punjab Engineering College, PEC, to the level of a deemed university. It was a college under the Punjab University, and it was an engineering college of repute, but it was not an independent institution. And the degree was of PU. And the permissions used to come from the Chandigarh administration. It was a department of the government. So it used to be tough. And then they made it a deemed university. I was involved. So it took 2 years or so for things to get going. A Senate was set up, a kind of governing body was set up, and a director was appointed instead of the principal who used to be there earlier. So it was a very difficult process. So these structural changes at some level, mergers and or reorganization takes time. But there are some measures which I feel can be implemented rather quickly.
I'm very tempted right now to show a small video of Shulini, Vivek. And I know we've been talking very heavy stuff. We're talking about education. We're talking about the new education policy, how people have to change. थोड़ा Shulini का अच्छे environment का video हो जाए, Vivek, if you allow me.
बिल्कुल हो जाए. I also talked about Aman, so you can show that also later.
Probably later on, I can sort of show that as an example. But say Shulini, and this is to tease all of you.
Sure.
The reason I wanted to show this, Vivek, was also because it's our belief that 50% of learning happens outside the classroom. And that's the attempt of the new education policy. They're basically saying create the right environment for students to prosper, to blossom, build liberal arts education or arts education, even for science students. Make sure that students are not burdened by large number of books, but start getting into creativity. They're not just boggled by remembering, like you rightly said, but get into creation. And the day that happens, our students will become world beaters and India will become a great nation, Vivek. So let's pick up a few questions, Vivek. I think there are,
Yes.
in the Q&A, Dr. Punmani is asking a question. Tell us what our vocational courses, I don't know how to interpret this question. Tell us what are the vocational courses to be implemented.
He's asking those details about the vocational. I don't think they've come out yet. So you can probably wait for those vocational courses. They will also come through the government of Haryana. So I think they'll have to wait for that.
But I think in general, what the government is saying is that skills are important. It's important that you educate yourself and upskill yourself so that you become employable. And there's a big emphasis on upskilling through digital skilling and other ways of skilling, Vivek. So that's definitely sure. So for example, if you're doing education, education is a skill. Becoming a teacher is a skill. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's a joint secretary in the now Department of Education, not MHRD anymore. That's what it's called. And he was telling me that apart from in your B.Ed, you'll be bringing digital learning in a very sizable way because teachers will be expected to teach online. And what the right pedagogy is, instruction design is of digital is a little different from the offline world or the classroom world. So I'll encourage teachers over here to get certifications on online learning. There are lots of them available right now free. There are platforms like edX, EDX, or Coursera, Coursera. I'll just write it down in chat in a second. Go and get certifications. It'll really, really help you, whether you are an existing teacher or a budding teacher. So that's my 2 cents, Vivek. And Kavita ma'am is asking, can we take admission in 2 courses? Unfortunately, not, Kavita ma'am. But what the government is encouraging is, the new education policy is encouraging is that you need not only be, for example, if you're doing a program in B.Ed or education. So first of all, it's going to be a 4-year integrated program in education. That's what the government is talking about. It's going to be called BA or BSc education. And You could be doing a major in education and a minor in music, or a minor in economics, or a minor in any other subject. So they want multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary learning to happen. While you can't do two programs or two courses, you can definitely at the same university pick up programs that are multidisciplinary. I think the trick over here, Vivek, is going to go to the right university for students.
That's right.
Every
Unity
university
already has it.
yeah, we already have that. We started 3 to 4 years back. So we've been big proponents of all the thought starters of the new education policy. In fact, I'd like to mention Vivek, and you've already met Dr. Dinesh Singh. Dr. Dinesh Singh is the ex-vice chancellor of Delhi University, a Padma Shri. He's also a distinguished professor at Shulani, and he's been guiding us. So he was also a member of the new education policy, the committee that was created under Professor Kasturi Rangan. So Dr. Dinesh Singh is really the guru for this, and he's been guiding Shulini. And that's why we've been able to implement all of this. And by the way, thanks to you for creating the Global Advisory Board where we got Dinesh, Vivek.
Yeah, no.
You are the architect of that.
It's a joint effort, yours and mine.
So yeah, there'll be a merger of the NCTE. I think there's a mood to create a new body as a regulator. Only medicine and law will be separate. Otherwise, all regulatory bodies will be merged. So that's what they're saying. I think Dr. Ponmani, the thoughts which we still don't know. So this is still a policy. Like I said, there's a slip between the lip and the cup. Let's see what comes out in the detailed instructions. But do expect major changes happening. I think the government is very, very serious about it this time.
Atul, I want to introduce you to Mr. A.S. Oberoi, who has just sent a comment on chat. He's not visible, but I think he's in the audience.
Okay.
So I must tell you, he's mentioned that thank you both speakers for explaining the
Vivek
new...
sir, what I'll do is that I'll promote him to the panel. I'm just promoting him to the panel.
Okay, you can talk to him.
Okay, that'd be lovely. That'd be
So
lovely.
he is a remarkable person who retired as a principal and now a director. I think he's touching 80 years. I'm not sure. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. But he travels.
Oh, him. Yeah, he's there. If we could request Amarjit sir to please unmute himself and switch on his camera.
Yes, you can speak, Oberoi sir. We can hear you.
No, he's still muted. Amarjit sir is muted.
So he travels from Chandigarh to Yamunanagar a few times a week, and he's dedicated to this cause of education. He's in touch with me constantly. Was actually present at my book launch where you were, of course, there. And that time also he posed for pictures, I remember. So very wonderful education.
Yes, Amarjit sir is there. Let's have his thoughts. I think he's unmuted. Amarjit sir, over to you.
Yes, sir. I will. I will definitely. I have met you on the occasion of Atray's release of book, and I will try again to meet you sometime at Chandigarh or at Solan.
It'll be an honor, Amarjit sir. It'll be an honor for us. And if you have any questions, Vivek and I would love to answer them, or any comments you have.
Comments I have already sent, but one thing I want to know from you, you both speakers have well-defined new education policies, its merits, but no demerits has been told by you so far.
No, I mentioned one demerit, Oberoi ji. I did mention that it may be difficult to do away with English at primary stages. English is very much required, I feel.
This is really a thing that if it is implemented in a real manner, then it will be a very good, and it will become at par with other world universities.
I think it's both at the school level and also at the
of course,
the university level, Amarjit sir. So I would say there are challenges. I won't call them weaknesses. There are challenges. The biggest challenge is implementation, like you rightly said, Amarjit sir. While the vision is great, the people who are implementing are the same. So how do they implement? And I'll give a small example over here, Vivek. We have multiple colleges at Shulani. And the whole concept of a university, Amarjit sir, is that you have common infrastructure and you have learning from one college to the other. Just recently, there was a small inspection, and one of the committee members who was part of the pharma committee said, show me the library in the pharma department. And we said, why do we need a separate library in the pharma department when we have such a huge library? We have one of the best libraries in the country, or probably in the
Oh,
world.
good, good.
It's the Yogananda
I
Library.
will
But
definitely
he said,
like
no, no,
to
I want a library
visit
right now
sometime
in
at
your department. So
your
so
campus.
implementation, rightly said, sir, is very, very is going to be a challenge. So let's see how it goes.
That's right.
And
This you are following on the new education policy pattern that you have already introduced at your university. That's very
absolutely.
good. Uh,
So I will now request Shikha ma'am to please mute Amarjit sir, because I think we're almost coming to an end, and I'd like to answer a few more questions. I'll also request Dr. Anju ma'am to come online and please unmute herself and stop her video. My views, Vivek, on English are English is not a bad thing. It's taken us a long way. It gives us a unique advantage over countries like China, and we should continue with our success of English. That's at least my belief. I think
I
turning
totally
around
agree.
and coming up with a new language system, especially in a country which is so multicultural like India, there's no way we can have one language. We'll just have so much dissension. So,
Absolutely.
also as a global economy, India has built major technical skills, whether it's in the IT world or the services world, and English is going to be a great advantage for India. So, giving English away is not a very wise thing. And I don't think the NEP says that. I think what it says is that early days, probably students learn mother tongue better. They can learn better through the mother tongue than through English, which is a foreign language. So, big debate. I can only say, Vivek, is that when I look at students who come after school into college, I sometimes break my head by saying, they've gone through 15 years of educational abuse. Many of them don't know how to write anything. They don't know how to spell anything. They have no numerical ability, which is also the focus of the NEP. And more importantly, they don't have passion. We have somewhere sucked the passion out of students. I think अगर हमने उनको attitude और passion ही दे दिया सिर्फ, forget knowledge,
Yeah, true.
we have actually got the students back. And I think that's so much needed.
We've actually restricted their creative abilities, and we haven't been able to educate them as we should have, haven't been able to hone their personalities. So the education system has a lot of hard work to do.
Absolutely. So we have Dr. Anju. We can't see her, but I think her speaker is on. So Anju ma'am, you want to add some thoughts before we close for the day?
Yes, sir, my video is not presenting. I'm trying, but it's not
No,
presenting.
you can speak. We can
You
hear
can
you.
speak.
Okay, I can speak. First of all, Dr. Atul, I congratulate you. I'm happy to see you're working. You are university. I really like it. Really enjoy your video, and I appreciate both of you. I think we have many doubts, and now I'm not clear about it. At present, we have more confusions or more clarity because you introduced a new education policy 2020 to our students, to us. We read about it, but I think there are so confusions. First confusion about Vivek Atray sir told us. The first confusion is about language, first to fifth. It's bilingual, it's mother tongue. The first confusion is from our side. And the second confusion, our students, many students asked about it. What about B.Ed program? You told us that it's 4-year program. But in new education policy, it's mentioned it's 1 year, it's 2 year, and it's 4 year. So, sir, I just want to clarity about it. If you tell me about it.
I think some of the things will be clarified by the government, but in the policy, it clearly says in the release. Yeah, Atul?
So I think on education, the government is going to promote a 4-year BA education. So B.Ed, which is a separate degree after your BA, will be over time eliminated. So it doesn't mean that B.Ed will not be a relevant degree for the students who are doing it, but for the new students, the government will promote BA education and or BSc education, and they will want students to specialize in some other subject along with education. For example, you could say I specialized in political science or music or science or whatever area that you're passionate about. So that's one. I also think the curriculum of BA education will be very heavy on technology going forward, because every school will need people where teachers know how to leverage technology, use technology, and more importantly, instruction design in the online world. So the BEd will be a little different from the way it was done earlier, where it is done earlier, and it'll become an integrated program, like I said, Anju ma'am. So that's what I understand, and I've had some discussions on education for a while with the authorities. We will get to know the details, as Vivek said, as they unfold the details of the policy. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So I would only, my last thought to all the teachers and all the students is, this is great for us because the government is saying more investment in education. More investment in education means more jobs for
One
teachers,
of
more
right.
respect for teachers. And I see more respect for teachers and more jobs for teachers. The Prime Minister has said that we would like to be a knowledge economy. We cannot become a knowledge economy without the support of teachers. Hopefully, the teachers will get the same respect, Vivek, that they would earlier in the Guru days, where we would call them gurus. Hopefully, that will come back, which I am very hopeful towards.
Yes, sir. Very right.
So, last thoughts, Vivek, before we close. I think it's 5. We've had an exceptional 1 hour, and we're thankful to all the wonderful participants. But any last thoughts, Vivek? One line.
Yes, indeed. One line is that policies come and go. It is the implementation which is important. So let us take the plus points of the policy and implement them at our level, whatever we can. And quality always matters. Policies may or may not happen, but any student who has quality will succeed. That's the key.
I would say, Vivek, teachers, students, don't stop learning. There is amazing content out there in the open world. MOOCs, as we call it, MOOCs. They are platforms like, and I'm writing them down over here. Let me see how I can bring them up. So there's something called edX, which is EDX. There's something called Coursera, where you can actually get certifications on online teaching. Do that.
Yes.
There's something called Unacademy. You can also go there, but these are the two best, edX, Coursera. You can learn from Harvard, you can learn from Oxford, you can learn from MIT. Just go out and do it, teachers. Don't let learning stop even for yourselves. You are the Corona warriors, and I am personally very, very, very proud of all of you. And so is Vivek. So those are my last thoughts. Before we close, we're going to have Anju ma'am or Shalini ma'am give the word of thanks, and we will then close for the day.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Shalini, you present the word
Yeah,
of thanks.
I'm there. Thank you, everyone. So, sir, I would like to apologize at one end that many of the students, they want to join still, but due to some technical glitches, they are not able to join, and they were not able to join. So it is a request from the technical team that please look into this.
Sure.
Rest,
I would like to mention, Shalini ma'am,
yeah,
that
sir.
Shikha ma'am will send you the YouTube link.
Yeah.
So everything is being recorded on YouTube. So Shikha, please send Shalini ma'am the YouTube link, and you can share this discussion with your with the students, please. Okay.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Yeah, sir, I personally feel that it was such a fruitful discussion today, because we were having so many apprehensions and confusions in our mind regarding the new education policy, because it has just crept in. So thank you so much. I could, show my notes if because my video was on. I have made notes for this so that I can discuss with my students, whatever has been discussed today. And on behalf of all the participants, I would like to propose a vote of thanks to those who have directly or indirectly contributed to the talk. At the outset, I thank our eminent speakers, Vivek Atray sir and Professor Atul Khosla sir. I take this opportunity to acknowledge the efforts taken by you. Thank you so much to bring to light the vital aspects of New Education Policy 2020. You have unfolded, sir, many of the doubts regarding this new Education Policy 2020. I would like to thank our worthy principal, ma'am, Iron Lady behind the successful educational institute named Sun Nishal Singh College of Education, And thank you, ma'am, for supporting us every time. I would like to owe my sincere thanks and gratitude to Director A.S. Oberoi, sir. So you have been cementing us, giving confidence in us, each and every member of the college. And I extend my thanks to you, sir, for supporting us. A special thanks to the technical team and the organizing team, and a big thank for all for their unflinching support and coordination. And with these warm regards, we move to the end of the webinar. I take the permission, I seek the permission. Sir, can we move on to end the webinar now?
Absolutely, Shalini ma'am, and it's also welcome to Shalini. Once COVID goes away, all your students and teachers are welcome, and let's
Thank you so much, sir.
And,
Thank you so much, sir.
thank you.
Dr. Atul sir, डॉक्टर अतुल सर, हम चाहते हैं कैंपस में आप हमारे जरूर विजिट करें. आपका कैंपस बहुत ब्यूटीफुल है, बट यू लाइक आवर कैंपस आल्सो.
I know, I've heard great things about your campus, Shalini ma'am, Anju ma'am, and we are waiting for COVID to be over, and we would be delighted to partner with each other.
Vivek, Atray sir, I request you. Please.
Sure, I'll come with Atul, surely.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, everyone. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.